for me to ask you why you have a book about devil music in your studio.
God, Dad, it's who I am. I love jazz.
He loves jazz, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm not gonna sing in the synagogues like you want me to.
There was a scene from the movie we will review this week.
I have some jazz encyclopedias down here.
I'm not going to sing in the synagogue like you want me to. Okay.
Yep. I'm going to pursue what I want to do, this podcast.
Okay.
About jazz movies. No.
There we go.
Here we go, guys. Episode 9. We've got
Episode 9. Wow.
the last silent film movie of November. I can't believe we've been doing these all month. It has been awesome. I feel like I've really expanded my
absolutely
repertoire, like of what I understand about the music, about the film industry, and just cinema as a whole, which is really cool.
Yep. Good for you.
Yeah. Do you want
Me too.
Do you want to read that quote?
I do. The opening. There was an opening quote. We should we say the movie that we're talking about this week? We already did last week, didn't we?
Yeah, but yeah, you do that and then we'll get into it. I think.
Read this.
Yeah.
Okay. In every living soul, a spirit cries for expression. Perhaps this plaintive, wailing song of jazz is, after all, the misunderstood utterance of a prayer.
And that's from the movie. That was that at the beginning?
That was at the beginning of the film.
Remember correctly. We both thought that quote was really beautiful. Does it say who it's attributed to, or did the writers create that?
It didn't have anyone. I guess we could find out.
Guys, you are our loyal internet sleuths. Look it up and comment below if you find something.
Loyal internet sleuths.
Yeah.
I'm too interested here. I got to find out.
Yeah, go ahead. I'll start talking about it. So like I said, we've got our final film. Today we watched The Jazz Singer. And at the end of the last episode, I don't mean to bring a damper on anything, but at the end of the last episode, we talked about trigger warnings and stuff with this. Obviously, there's the discussion of blackface in this film. And like always with any important films, anytime you go back in history, you are going back into years, decades, a time that is heavily rooted in bigotry, ignorance, things of the like, hence racism, blackface. And we don't want to ignore that stuff, and we want to acknowledge it and learn more about it so that we don't repeat those same mistakes. And so we acknowledge that part of the film, but we don't celebrate it and we don't tolerate it. So
absolutely.
Yeah. So
this quote that I just read is from playwright and screenwriter Samson Raphaelson, who used it as an opening to his 1925 short story, A Day of Atonement, which was later adapted into the play and film, The Jazz Singer.
Beautiful.
So there you go.
Look at that. So
yeah,
that's starting it on a happier note. I like that. Okay. Yeah. So this is directed by Alan Crosland, starring Al Jolson. This is the first talkie, right?
The first talkie. The first time that what was happening on film was synchronized with sound.
Yeah.
Yep.
Do you want to give like a little film background here? Or do you want me to get into that?
Well, it's a musical drama, early sound film. It really was Al Jolson's story. Al Jolson's father was a cantor. He comes from a long line of cantors, and cantors were men that sang. How am I saying this?
Jewish prayers. They sang
Jewish prayers.
They sang Jewish prayers, scriptures.
Yeah. Something called the Kol Nidre.
Yeah, the Kol Nidre.
Something that he was wanting his.
Something that we're too ignorant about the Hebrew faith to understand. So we're just moving on.
Yeah, but the cantors generally it was a generational thing. Grandfathers and fathers, and they just passed it on down.
Just like in this movie, he's the fifth generation.
Al Jolson's father naturally assumed that his son would carry on the tradition, and Al Jolson wanted to be a singer. He wanted to be a jazz singer. And jazz, as you can see from the quote I read originally here at the opening of the episode, jazz was kind of looked on in the 20s as being yet another evil influence of the 20s, like girls bobbing their hair and and short dresses and things like that. Man. So, yeah,
very cool. Yeah, I've got some fun facts. If you,
I love the fun facts.
Here we go.
Go for it.
So talking about how talkies, kind of the first synchronized sound. Mm-hmm. Al Jolson in the first couple numbers that he sings in this, not the past where we see him singing as a child, but the first couple numbers he sings as an adult. In the middle of them, as he's getting the crowd going, he says, "You ain't heard nothing yet." It's totally improvised because it was a play on. They've literally not heard nothing yet. Yep. Because
wait a minute, you ain't heard nothing yet.
Yep.
And it's been a phrase that's been used over the years.
Yep.
It's probably how we should have opened this podcast.
You ain't heard nothing yet. Yeah, that would have been really cool if it wasn't 11:30 p.m.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So here we go. Why do we record these so late? What are we doing?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the I did learn that Warner Bros. Risked their entire studio for this one movie. They spent nearly all of their savings betting that audiences would pay to watch the movie. Mm-hmm. And they would have gone bankrupt if it flopped straight up, and it didn't because they were right to.
One of the first silent films we've reviewed that did not flop.
Yeah.
I think because everybody was very anxious to hear sound on film.
And Al Jolson was a super popular performer.
Absolutely.
And people loved him and wanted to hear more from him.
But what was interesting is he was not offered this role in the beginning.
That's right. Yeah, you want to talk about that?
Yeah. Well, George Jessel was a big film star of the time. He was offered the film. Okay. Eddie Cantor was another comedian actor who was offered, and they finally offered it to Al Jolson. So, And nice. Al Jolson was very famous for performing in blackface.
Yes.
And I don't know, maybe that's why they didn't offer it to him first. I don't know.
That could be. And in the great contradictions of the ignorance of that time, he was also an advocate for civil rights and for African American performers, like we talked about before the podcast.
He fought for good treatment of African American performers, more equality in pay, and it just kind of boggles your mind. Like, really? Wow.
Like
you know?
It's just.
I'm glad he did that, but wow, I just don't think people knew. I don't know. There wasn't much education there about how offensive all of that was. You know?
It was. I mean, it's a contradiction that we just don't understand, and maybe they didn't even understand.
Maybe not.
But I thought it was funny that only about 15 minutes of this movie is actual speaking dialogue.
But it was that was a huge deal.
Yeah, people were real excited to see that.
Well, I know I read that when the very first bit of sound came out, it was, I guess the first bit of sound was when the young Al Jolson character, who was called Jackie Rabinowitz.
Yep.
Jackie Rabinowitz sings in a saloon.
Yeah. And
he's supposed to be a nice little Jewish boy.
Mm-hmm.
He's supposed to be at home getting ready for synagogue.
Yep.
And he's in a saloon singing, My gal Sal, she was a frivolous gal.
Yeah.
And
scandalous.
Doing kind of a shuffle dance up there.
Yeah.
That was the first bit of sound, though, in that movie, right?
Yes. Yeah, it was. You're correct.
And people in the audience, when they looked up and they saw this kid's mouth moving and they heard actual music and singing coming out of his mouth,
groundbreaking,
jumped up and applauded and were freaking out, you know. So
Very
and cool. They did it several times throughout the movie.
It's something that if you think about moments in history that you could go back and be a part of, that's one of them where you're like, I wish I could have felt that experience.
Because it's no big deal to us, of course.
But we understand.
To them, it was really something.
Yeah. Excuse me. What was your was this your first time watching it? What were your first impressions?
It was my first time watching it.
Nice.
I I read a lot about it. I knew that it was, the first talkie.
Yeah.
You know, again, it's one of the films on the 50 top movies. It's in the Library of Congress. I think that after watching it, I embraced the fact that there were a lot of things wrong with it, but it is one of the most important turning points in film history.
Yes. For sure.
The birth of synchronized sound in cinema, basically. And it really just shows you how technology can reshape storytelling. We're seeing it today even, but I mean, that was an early example.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah. This was my first time watching it too. Yeah. I'm on the same level with you. I thought this film was really touching. Even everything that was,
me too. Yeah.
Everything that was wrong with it. It was very charming.
Yeah.
I really, Al Jolson's performance was really good. I've really, felt pulled in by, he really convinced me of his circumstances, and it was really, I believed it. You felt the heart behind what he was doing. It was very, very good.
I agree.
It was a nice little breath of fresh air after Metropolis and Intolerance.
Right. The longer, right.
Even like we said, everything that's wrong with it, it's a very charming movie.
Well, full disclosure here. Yeah. When I looked at the running time for Jazz Singer and I saw it was an hour and 27 minutes, I thought,
we were like,
yes,
that's like a walk in the park for us now. Yeah. Watching these 3-hour films.
So, I mean, we're right there with you guys.
Yeah, totally. But yeah, some of the story and the themes we've got here, there's this big, the heavy-handed one throughout the entire movie is tradition versus modernity. And I thought it was very interesting. And the part that pulled me in instantly from the beginning is Al Jolson's performance of Dirty Hands, Dirty Face.
Yeah, Dirty Face.
And
Dirty Hands.
It's a song about father loving his son. And I just think Al Jolson, his performance of it, you see there's like just a tinge of like sadness behind his eyes, because he knows that his father does not love him that way. His father does not accept, because the song is about, I don't care what anybody says about him, he's my son and I love him. And his father does not accept him that. He doesn't feel that same way.
And Al Jolson was known for singing with a lot of feeling.
Yeah.
Getting that emotion out of the audience. He was known for that.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I kind of noted that there's almost even the movie's kind of trying to define what faith means in the context of the modern American dream, and how that ties in with your dreams, with what you want to pursue as an individual versus what your tradition is trying to say with you.
Well, and there was a great need for the immigrants of the time to hold on to their identity from the old country. And so, did you already say tradition versus modern?
But please talk about
immigrant identity versus assimilating into the American culture.
Yeah. Because his parents almost see it as him losing that aspect of his,
and it was such a conflict. It was such a cultural, personal conflict with Jack. He started calling himself Jack Robin instead of Jackie Rabinowitz.
Yeah.
Family versus ambition.
Yeah. So with those story themes we see throughout of it, what do you take of his? Because there's one point where I believe it's the owner of the club or whoever is talking to him, and he asks him, like, what's it going to be? And he says, you're asking me to choose between my dream and breaking my mother's heart. It's an impossible choice. That. And what do you think about the resolution they give you there? Because they essentially let him do both. And they talk about, hey, this can coexist. What did you think about that resolution?
Well, it's satisfying to the audience.
Sure.
It's not realistic.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah.
But I'm sure the audience was like, he still has time. Or he's it'll be okay. It'll be okay. They'll let him come back. He's big enough. They'll let him come back to the show, which they did.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's rough because that's not real life at all.
Yeah, absolutely.
But this is 1927. There was kind of a feel good era. It was people were wanting stories like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
No, I've said this a million times, but it was so touching. And it was so hard for me at first to look past the uncomfortability of the blackface, because you're sitting there and you're like, because I didn't know that was in this movie when I initially discovered it, and you're sitting there and you're like, what is the point of it? And then it starts getting to the climax and he starts putting on the makeup and you're like, oh,
what are you doing? Like, exactly.
But it's almost, in my mind, this is at least what I did. It's not a way to ignore it, but it's almost like you're looking at someone in a costume. It's almost like, if I'm talking about if I directed it, obviously I'm taking that out.
Yeah.
And you could achieve the same thing if
it's not necessary.
If you just put him in any other outfit, And but I wanted to talk about that scene in particular because when his mother, like you see Al Jolson singing with these tears in his eyes, and his mother says like he has the cry in his voice just like his father, and it just breaks your heart because you're like, man, he's gonna choose to be here instead of right back, because you don't know yet.
Right.
But what did anything else about like the story that really stood out to you? Any of the themes?
Well, I failed to mention The Jazz Singer was not the first film with sound. It was the first feature-length narrative.
Yes. Yeah, that's an important clarification.
There had been some other smaller
of course,
things with film.
Right.
And then you already talked about the line, "You ain't heard nothing yet." It was totally improvised.
Yeah, it's crazy. But so I guess we could sidestep, like, we'd obviously change the blackface in it. Is there anything else about the story that you might want to think about? Hey, they could have done this, or something could have been.
I don't know. I thought the relationship with Mary Dale, May McAvoy's character, was a little weak. I don't know. I mean, it should not have. I don't know. It should not have been a huge part of the whole, because he really was. He wasn't headed toward necessarily a woman. He was headed toward a career. Yeah, but sure. I don't know. Al Jolson was a vaudeville superstar, and so his star power, like you said, the production company, Warner Brothers, right? Risked it all. Yeah. But Al Jolson was such a superstar, they would have to have somebody with that much star power to assure the film's success.
Yeah, totally.
But is that what you asked me? Because I'm totally.
If you directed it,
I'm totally delirious.
If you could change anything about the
story. I could change anything.
It's so late, guys. I'm sorry.
And so
I'm dragging my dad out here in the middle of the night to record these podcasts. I'm sorry.
No, I think I was going to that though with what I was getting ready to say. I said, I think the relationship was a little weak there, but I'm not sure that it's necessary maybe to make it stronger. I don't know.
Okay.
I definitely, would change the uncomfortable elements. I loved what they did with the relationship and of course the resolution between him and his father.
That was beautiful.
Yeah.
I almost, if I could change one little thing about that, because it does seem a little unrealistic. You're like, oh no. I would have almost liked to see somewhat of an answer of integrating his tradition into his dreams somehow. Like there's some way to hold both equally.
Yeah.
I don't think. I think it was a nice gesture. It made the audience feel good. It made you know, it felt resolved.
Yeah,
for sure.
Well,
and that's what they were going for.
You know what I kind of thought might have happened. Did I cut you off? Sorry.
No.
What I kind of thought was going to happen. You know, he left the theater to go sing the Kol Nidre, and I thought that the audience from the theater was somehow going to hear him singing in the synagogue and trickle in. I don't know. I just kind of thought
that would have been great.
Yeah. So if I directed this film,
it would have been better.
I don't know. You know, it wouldn't be realistic to think that a theater full of people were going to trickle into a synagogue. But
yeah, totally.
You know, it might be cool to do something like that.
Yeah. Do you want to move on to talking about acting, casting, movie making?
Yep.
Stardom.
Well, we already talked about Al Jolson being a big star.
Sure.
Mae McAvoy was another one of the ladies from the silent era that had been in some things. She did not go on to make the transition and become famous in the sound era. Yeah. I think that the person who in the cast that really was probably the most recognizable was Warner Olin, who played the cantor, who played Al Jolson's father. Really? He went on to play several Asian roles. You know, back then, here's something else disturbing about Hollywood. They would not employ actual Asian people. Are you supposed to say Asian people? Because I might be making a faux pas.
I think you can, technically, if you're referring to those in Asia. Yeah.
They would not let a authentic Chinese person play a Chinese person. They would have a white actor, and make up their eyes, which it's offensive. Yeah. But Warner Olin went on to play. I think he played a character, Dr. Fu Manchu, which was
I've heard of that before.
Kind of a villain in the movies, and he later in life played in a series of movies. I think there were about 16 to 20 of them, the Charlie Chan Mysteries, and he would play. Those are highly offensive. Just the way he speaks. But I remember seeing them when I was a kid on KPLR TV. Yeah. On Saturday, Sunday afternoons, Charlie Chan Mysteries, and he was just a sleuth. Yeah. But he was a Chinese man.
Sure.
But that was his Warner Olin. Was known for those roles.
Would Warner Olin have been recognizable to audiences by this point, or was it more?
I don't think so.
Later?
I think he became more of a household name, but you wouldn't recognize him. What he really looked like, because he always had a costume disguise or facial hair or whatever it was.
Sure. We touched on it a little bit, but could you expound upon? I guess did you say that the relationship between Al Jolson and Mae McAvoy's characters? Do you say the romantic or the romance there wasn't super?
Yeah, I don't know. I may have to revisit that and look at them again, but. You could tell they were drawn to each other, but you wonder, were they drawn to each other because she saw something in him, as far as show business, and he same way with her.
Gotcha.
I don't know. I mean, it wasn't as believable as there was chemistry between those two.
Gotcha.
So I might have done something like that if I directed.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you have any more on like acting or casting?
No, I mean, I looked up, I did some research on, none of the rest of the cast had much of a, the lady Eugenia Bessner played his mother, and she didn't really go on to have anything significant happen to her later on. I think she died not long after the movie, in her early 60s, which is fairly young. I guess at the time it probably wasn't considered a young age to die at, but these days, yes.
I just some like talking about like the impact of the movie, I was thinking about how the audience relates to the characters and stuff. I found online that this movie kind of, you know, theaters nationwide had to install speaker systems because of this movie. And it was you know, we talked about how audiences would stand up and cheer like at the first, you know, because it was groundbreaking to them.
Right. And probably miss some things if they were cheering, really.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Maybe that's why that first song was maybe a little drawn out a little more to anticipate that.
Right.
But the director still shot it like a silent film. You still have those wide angles to make sure you can capture the entire person's body, to get all their expressions, to get everything. But yeah. What do you think about the way? Because we're kind of coming to a close on silent films as a whole.
Yeah.
What are some differences? You know, you can compare it with Hitchcock or like any. I'd just say Hitchcock because we recently went over him.
Yeah.
But what are some differences you notice in the acting, or I guess even the filmmaking choices behind someone trying to capture something in a silent movie format versus a talkie format, or just like a realistic format?
Well, I mean, there's a whole different style, and a whole different. You can clearly see expressions and body language and movement and everything is a lot more prevalent in the silent films. It looks, parts of it look a little campy to us. Even Al Jolson, even though he was a big star, good actor, able to evoke emotion. Evoke emotion, is that what the right?
Yeah.
He could appear a little campy, and he rolled his eyes. It almost looked a little maniacal sometimes, the way he would do things. And you know, kissing his mom right straight on the mouth all the time, I was just like, you know, this is making me a little uncomfortable. I have to admit it, you know.
Yeah, totally.
But, anyway.
Yeah. No, but that campiness is still there, and I think you even see it in, you know, as we watch like some older films, like even some of like the Hitchcock ones or movies from even like the 40s and 50s, which are like a couple decades removed from silent films.
Right.
People's performances are still a lot more expressive
Over
than
the
you
top.
see today. Yeah.
Yep.
Cool.
That is correct.
Well, yeah, I wanted to take a bit here. Do you have anything else on like acting or casting, stuff like that? I wanted to take a bit for us to kind of, well, you know what? Let's go ahead and before I wanted to reflect on our silent film journey as a whole at the end of this. But let's
take us back.
Let's first, take us back. Let's first go through our usual questions that I have for you. Okay. My interview.
Just kidding.
You're like, this is the most boring part of the podcast.
No, it's not. At all. I'm just kidding.
So casting swap. Who else do you see in these roles? What do you?
Casting swap. Let me turn my page here. Talk amongst yourselves.
Yeah, sorry. I'm just realizing I think I copied the wrong thing here. This podcast is so good. We're having to
I have some sort of, did you call them deep cuts again?
Yes.
I'm going to say deep cuts again.
Please.
Gene Kelly. Gene Kelly was a musical star, more in the 40s and 50s.
Okay.
Might be interesting to see him do the Al Jolson part.
Yeah, totally.
And here's something that I thought: another entertainer, another singer, another very versatile superstar entertainer, Sammy Davis Jr.
Oh,
it would change. Well, he was Jewish. Did you know he was a Jewish man?
I don't think I knew that. Yeah.
African American, but also Jewish.
Yeah.
There'd be a big shift in the whole story. I mean, it would carry different cultural weight, different energy. But I don't know. I just thought of those two.
No, that's really good. Yeah. I couldn't. I kind of think that Al Jolson was kind of perfect for this.
Yeah.
I think he But no, those are great choices as well.
Yeah, I mean, it would be a 1950s version for both those gentlemen.
Yeah, absolutely.
But anyway,
your scene stealer. What's the most memorable thing, most memorable moment or scene from this movie that grips you?
You know, I think that and I don't even have his name down. The guy who was the friend who first saw Jackie in the saloon and ran to tell the cantor.
Oh yeah.
I enjoyed seeing him.
Yeah.
You know, he did a good job.
No, he did.
There he was in the saloon. Yeah. But yet,
right.
Your son's in the saloon.
He's not judged. Yeah.
Right.
No, he's kind of the connecting point between the family, and all throughout the movie, really, he kind of goes to speak to him when his father won't. Essentially, like a representative for.
Right.
He's like a representative for the family and the faith as a whole, like for the.
Exactly. I was really struck by how well Warner Olin played the cantor, and you know, he did a really great job there.
Yeah. He had some real challenging emotional scenes to act out.
Yeah,
I would say.
Yeah.
You know, the classic "I have no son anymore."
Right.
We you know, and then the reconciliation. Our son has returned. He's come home.
Right. There was a lot of emotional weight behind all those family scenes.
Absolutely.
And you know, of course, the blackface performance, such a complicated legacy.
Yeah.
It stands out to you. You can't not initially think of that part of the movie.
Yeah. Well, and I was genuinely moved during that part of the movie because he was singing with tears in his eyes, and his mother is there witnessing him for the first time sing his dream, you know, and it's marred by that bit of ignorance.
Definitely marred.
For sure.
Yes. Yeah.
But yeah, it's memorable because of that too.
Yeah. What about you? What?
Yeah. Well, I think that would be it for me. Also the just all the scenes where I think I genuinely teared up when he started singing in the synagogue again, and then his father wakes up and is like finally, you know, accepted him.
Hear him.
Yeah, it was. I think.
And you kind of think for a minute, maybe his father will get better.
Yeah, and then no. But my main one was when his mother witnesses him singing for the first time, essentially, like I said here. But yeah, it's kind of it for those. For some of our closing questions, I'm closing a little early so we can talk about silent films as a whole.
Sure.
What's your double feature for this one?
My double feature. I just mentioned Gene Kelly, Singing in the Rain.
Yep. That's a good one. You don't have to give multiple.
I think I'll say Singing in the Rain.
There you go. My funny answer is High School Musical. Because
that is funny.
Because it's a story about a kid who has to choose between his family's tradition of basketball and
being in a musical.
His dream is show business. And I thought it was the first thing I thought of, and I was like, that's such a funny comparison. I have to say it.
And you guys listened. You guys listened to that soundtrack. Gee whiz.
We did?
Yeah. High School Musical?
Oh, you're right. You're right. I think we did.
I'll never forget it.
It was no, you know why I blocked it out? Because it was one of those that you had to pretend you weren't into when you were a kid. You know what I mean? You had to pretend like, oh no, I'm too cool for that.
Yeah.
But then it's like you go home and you're like,
get your head in the game.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, yeah. My real answer is: have you seen or heard of the movie Whiplash?
Yep.
With okay.
Yeah.
That's my real answer. I think, and I think it pairs well because you have the realities of show business in the music industry and what the cost is to be great. In you know, in Jazz Singer, it's almost about costing you your tradition, your heritage, and then in Whiplash, it's like what is the cost? Do you really have to do this to be great? And it's kind of the same thing in the Jazz Singer. It's like, do you have to give this up?
Right.
So that's why it really resonated with me, I think. But
yeah.
But yeah. Any final takeaways from this movie? You think?
Well, I mean, I just think the whole decision that Jack finally makes to sing for his father,
Yeah.
it just takes you all the way back
Yeah.
to that early scene, childhood scene when he's in the synagogue. There's just a lot of, and you wouldn't expect to be, because like I said, there's a campiness and a little bit of silliness.
Oh, totally.
Because it's in a different era.
Well, I wasn't I didn't expect to be moved.
No.
At all.
And when he sang the Blue Sky song to his mother in rehearsal, that was rough.
Yeah.
And then then he speaks to her.
Yeah.
And you hear the spoken word on screen, and it had never been done before.
Yep.
Yeah. Again, when you get back and you can really see it through the eyes of somebody who would see a sound picture for the first time in the 20s, you can kind of recapture the electricity they must have felt.
Totally.
Yeah.
I think that's like yeah. I think that for me too is it's groundbreaking, kind of like Intolerance was for like cinematography and everything. This one was for the sound, obviously.
Yeah.
But then I think it's also a really cool movie in talking about that classic struggle of like of chasing your dreams, of kind of wrestling with this idea of identity and knowing that you don't have to give up what you love to chase what you love. Sometimes you can hold all that you love together. I think
you can intertwine them. Yeah. True.
So that's how I'd recommend it to people. Is like, hey, this is the first talkie, the full feature length.
Well,
talkie.
and you gotta tell people, hey, you're a film buff. It's essential for you to watch it.
Yep.
Any kind of film students need to watch it.
Totally.
If you're studying cultural history, you need to watch it.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, you have to talk about that content warning. You have to talk about the blackface. You have to talk about the dated attitudes throughout the film. Again, this stuff has to be talked about. It has to be unpacked, and there have to be conversations about it. Just because it happened.
Yeah. It's that classic folly of history repeats itself.
Right.
When you ignore that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
So, yeah. What would you rate this?
I split it down the middle.
Okay.
For historical importance, I would say 8 out of 10.
Okay.
For just the narrative, I'd say a 6 out of 10.
Okay. Yeah. I gave it an 8 out of 10. So that's
overall.
I think mine's probably the same way.
Yeah.
Ooh, I got a big notification noise there. That was cool. So I wanted to take just like a few minutes, last, maybe however long we got here, and just talk about going over silent films and what that's done. I really feel like this so watching Hitchcock movies definitely felt important. It definitely felt like, wow, I'm really, I'm getting into these old classic movies. This month, I feel like I can officially call myself a movie buff.
There you go.
I'm like, man, I've watched these like groundbreaking, and this was the whole point of us doing this podcast that we wanted to bring other people into.
Right.
Is we're giving ourselves an excuse and the chance to kind of dig into some really cool cinema and really important cinema, I think. Do you have any thoughts on, what this month has kind of meant to you to kind of dive back into these or watch some of these for the first time yourself?
I really feel like it's really generally helped me look at all genres of movies a little differently.
Yeah.
Because you don't think of
that's
I guess
true.
I guess you don't think about the movies that really were pioneer movies.
Yeah.
They're there. We just don't think about them, of course. And like, what was the first romantic movie? What was the first? There were movies probably that were the first gritty, realistic movie that, really, I don't know, the first social commentary movie, whatever it was.
Yeah.
These silent films make you look at movie making as a whole differently and
Yeah.
where everything started out.
Because we're at such a, I say fortunate time in history in terms of cinema, because it is, when you compare it to other art forms and other bits of things you can get into like history, it's relatively new.
Yeah.
It's something that, you know, it's 100-something years old at this point.
Yeah.
Like when you go back to the earliest bits of film that actually was created,
Right.
It's something that you can actually go back and dive into and really catch from the beginning and follow it all the way through. And that's what I feel like this month did for me, is you know, like you said, you know that these films are out there, you just don't really interact with them. But now that I have interacted with, like, even just a bit of these, just 5 of them, you can already see the influences that sweep across films and all of cinema afterwards.
Right.
So,
yeah.
Well, cool.
We made it.
This is the end of November.
Yeah.
Excuse me. So now we're going to talk a little bit about what we're going to do for December, unless you had any final thoughts about silent movies. All right.
We wrapped up the silence pretty well there.
Yeah, thank you guys for sticking with us. As like we said, we love doing this, and it gives us a chance to hang out and talk about movies. So hopefully you've loved this chance to kind of hang out and listen to us yap about movies. But so next month, starting next week, we're going to be covering some lesser known Christmas movies.
Lesser known.
That's our idea. The idea that you came up with, I thought was pretty cool. And next week we will be starting with Beyond Tomorrow, from 1940, starring Harry Carey, Gene Parker. Is that right? Okay, cool.
Big names.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were laughing at me because I was like saying the wrong names.
No,
or something.
you're saying them right.
No, that's cool. Okay,
Yeah.
Harry Carey and Gene Parker, and you're like, nobody knows who that is.
Yeah.
Well,
So some people do.
So yeah, we'll be watching that and 3 other maybe lesser known Christmas movies, which I think is pretty cool because, you know, I haven't.
Yeah.
I watch the same ones every year, and I think that Christmas movies have a certain like comfort to them.
Yes.
Even if you haven't seen them, they feel like old friends or something, you know.
And you know, we should go ahead and say that some of these movies, we're not saying that they have a Christmas theme throughout the whole entire movie. They're just known as movies that have Christmas as part of them. Yeah. And some of these movies, you know, you might say, well, I've heard of that movie. I didn't know it was a Christmas movie. Yeah. Okay, there you go.
I think the term a Christmas movie is used very loosely. Yeah. So I think we're not really taking many liberties when we say Christmas movie. Some people call Die Hard a Christmas movie. It takes place on Christmas.
I've heard of that.
So yeah. But go ahead and watch Beyond Tomorrow for next week.
Can you believe it's already Christmas time?
Yeah,
December,
and that'll be our 10th episode.
Wow.
So we're 10 episodes in. This is episode 9. Next one's episode 10. So go ahead and watch that for next week.
10 of your friends to like and subscribe.
I still haven't figured out where the buttons are down here, but they're down here
somewhere along the bottom here.
But yeah, like we said, liking and subscribing just tells us that you like what we're doing and you want us to make more.
Doesn't cost a thing.
Yeah, comment below what like movies, what themes you think we should do. We're always looking for new ideas.
Yeah. And have you mentioned the email address in a while?
Oh, I haven't. You know, it's on our intro video that I'm gonna pin to our page, but or I already have at this point. But it's just movie nights with dad, all in one word, and the nights is plural. So movie nights with dad at gmail.com.
There you go.
So you just email that. And just you can email us suggestions. You can email us, you know, just saying, hey, I like your podcast. You can email us and say, I hate your podcast. This stinks. That's okay too. But it's but commenting down below really helps our engagement. So if you feel comfortable, like, you know, saying something in front of everybody, please do. Just don't be mean to other people. We appreciate it. Yeah. But yeah, anything else you want to say, Dad?
I don't think so.
Cool. I'm excited.
I'm glad you have a guest room.
It's midnight, so thanks for sticking with us. Thank you, Dad, for sticking with me.
Thank you, son. Love you.
I love you too. Bye, guys.
Good night.